Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Making Video Your Business. You might recognise the man sat opposite me. He's big in the game, we say around here, big in the property game. This is Toby Phillips. Hi Toby, how are you?
Hiya. Yeah, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, very well, very well.
Thanks for your hospitality today.
Hey, quite all right, although you had to walk back from the supermarket.
The mean streets of Grantham, I've got to be honest, I panicked a bit.
Chris Watkin ran out of petrol whilst giving this esteemed guest a lift back to the studio, but you're all back.
Not being in Tooting Broadway back in the 70s, so home from home, trust me.
Love it, love it. Now, a lot of people watching this will know who you are. Like, we've only met like a handful of times over the last year or so, but obviously I knew of you before we met. Oh, that's that guy, because you're always sharply dressed, I'd say. Yeah, wear a suit well.
My wife would say well managed.
Yeah. They do say
Left to myself,
man.
Yeah, left to myself. Terrible.
Right, so for people who don't know you, I mean, you're a career estate agent, basically. You sort of left school, tried a few different jobs, in that first year, and then, like most people say, I didn't leave school and think, maybe I will be a estate agent. You sort of fell into it's probably a negative term, but like someone saw something in you on a building site once, didn't they?
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
How did that all start?
Yeah. I worked literally as I left school. I worked for a mate of mine. His dad was an electrician.
Right.
And I was probably, I don't know if there's anyone worse than me, but I was probably the worst labourer, worst electrician. I looked like a labourer, spoke like one, but I couldn't do any labour. So I think my mate felt really sorry for me. His dad sort of had to pay for a few damages and stuff. And I did a bit of removals,
right?
Cleaned a few chandeliers.
Love that.
And actually, my neighbour ran a few sites and said to me one day, "You've always got a lot to say. Can you talk?" I was on site. Can you show me where the show house was? And actually, she said to me, "You'd be a really good agent."
Right, because they're the show home on site.
They're the show home on site.
Yeah.
You'd be a really good agent. She said, "Well, I think what she meant was because I always see you sitting around, and when someone says, 'Can you show me something?' You're the first up."
Yeah, right. Okay.
To get away from work. So it was very, very basically she said something, and it was very back in the days where estate agency was probably, I'm a bit older than you, but it was very much pinstripe suits, red ties, filer faxes.
The old braces on and that.
And it was definitely better than the dual-controlled car that I used to get picked up in the mornings for the building site. So I started off with a really good employer. I worked for Man Countrywide for my first part of my career.
Okay.
I worked in the South London area.
Yeah, big company.
Massively. Yeah. Great training, great support. And but clearly at 23, I knew everything. So I didn't need them anymore. And I opened up on my own just outside in a London suburb. And we ran our own business, myself and my business partner.
Yeah.
I then took it on at a later date. When I sold that business, I sold part of it to Countrywide and broke off other parts into different local businesses.
Okay.
I relocated to Newbury. I didn't know where Newbury was.
I do because of the race course, but
that's it.
Yeah.
I'd never been more south than Basingstoke my whole entire life. And I went to work for Sequence.
And
I ran the Oxford area. As the role evolved, I ran Oxford, Bristol, and the Swindon areas. I then was approached by someone you'll know, Ian McKenzie.
I do.
From Countrywide.
Guild, yeah.
And he took me on to work with him in the Solent area of Countrywide.
Right.
That then transgressed, and I became the managing director of the Southwest, which is Devon and Cornwall.
Yeah.
And I loved my time down there. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, real nice place.
I moved around within Countrywide from Bristol to Bournemouth to the Isle of Wight over a 10-year period. And my last 4 years were spent as the managing director for the South. So running between Penzance and Folkestone, probably the best way to describe it, throughout London. Absolutely loved my time there.
You moved up quite quickly then.
Yeah.
In real terms.
I was only meant to be there for a short space of time to help Ian out, and absolutely loved it. Worked with some great people. I was very much brought up in the days of sort of Bob Scarf, and
of course,
fantastic guy to work for. I left as part of the Connells acquisition.
Right.
Was there for a couple of years, and then I met Gareth Samples. And joined the franchise group. So in all, probably because I'm not very good at anything else, I've probably I think I'm in about my 36th year. as an agent.
There's not much you haven't come across, right? Yeah.
Do you know what? I didn't think I'd leave London for the first 20 years. And then I've moved about 12 times in 10 years.
Right,
It's been great, and it's given me, it's a great industry to come into, number one. If you're not very intelligent like me, you didn't need to be in the old days. These days, you need to be.
I'm sure you are.
And you're not very good at anything else. But it's brilliant if you for me, I always had a passion for people, and the property part obviously was very much massively. But the people part for me, I just thought I've always got on with people, love people, and it was fantastic.
I'd say it's some probably a lot of people's biggest fear, being in a stranger's home, even though it's your job, and actually either pitching to them or trying to read the room quickly, because that's a skill that you can develop. But I know some people that say things out loud and they're like, I didn't realise who was stood there and this. But you get that sort of, I don't know, you create that relationship really quickly, or you have to, don't you, to either get a second call back or even be considered to sell the house, or
And I think it's about, and where I've been fortunate is I've worked in such a variety of marketplaces. So again, you build up a library of approaches, you build up a library of different people at different stages of their lives as well, and that's been a massive benefit to me, because there's not many situations I don't think I'll go into.
Sure.
And you're learning every day. There's not many situations I'll go into and have not experienced that, or that particular type of person, in life, and I think when you are a career agent, you've gone through it yourself. So you've gone through being a first-time buyer to a seller, to separation, to, every sort of different type of emotion. So,
and is it a chameleon type skill where, say, new to market first-time buyers and an older couple looking to downsize because kids have left home, you've got to quite quickly, sort of, not act like them, always be yourself, but I guess your pattern, your pitch changes slightly with vocabulary used or tone, intonation.
Yeah, and I think the speed of us agents, we're talking lots of times, if it's two agents, we're talking loads of acronyms. Everything's got an abbreviation to it. And I think the one thing I've learned over the time is very much is honing your listing skills. Doesn't matter whether the person's spending millions of pounds or thousands of pounds. It really doesn't matter. As long as you listen to the customer and you've got that empathy, that you are spending time with people. And I think that's the biggest thing.
And helping them on their journey.
And I talk a lot to my franchisees now and a lot to their staff about the world is very quick. It's a press of a button.
Yeah, literally.
But actually, the time you spend with people, not only will you show empathy, but you'll also find out more information and be able to help them in that much more of a detailed fashion.
And that's, I guess, why you're perfect. I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, you've just had another role change. You're Group MD of Martin & Co. and all the brands.
And the Xperience brand.
Of course, right.
Martin & Co. and the Xperience brand. So we formed a new operational board. I'm delighted to be on that board with some really good people. You'll know Ellie Hall from Belfast.
Big fan.
Rob Smith, Ian McKenzie, Nick Neal.
Yeah,
it's a really strong operational board. So many diverse skills, qualities within all of the guys. So it's a really strong team we have now.
Yeah.
The restructure, although it's in its infancy, it's a really exciting time for us. And part of our job is to really make sure that when a franchisee decides that they're going to sell, then we can maximise that asset. And that work starts on the day that they become a franchisee. Well, I'm going to be with you for 30 years, but actually we're already planning, on what you're doing, how you're shaping. Does your growth add value to it?
Of course,
what you buy, how you add to the business. So every day we are having those conversations about, is that the right thing for you?
Yeah.
And how will that benefit you in 10, 15, 20 years?
So, I mean, these, not that you get bad press at all, like bigger corporates, but you are helping out your franchisees in more than the one way. Like, it's not just, I need help with this legal or this bit of, HR. Actually, you're thinking about them, even if they're not thinking about themselves in 10, 20, 30 years' time. I mean, we know someone, you might know, John Paul from Castledene,
yes,
in the Northeast region. And it's always stuck with me and Chris. Within a year, we met him of starting this business. And he said, boys, if you cannot pass someone over a memory stick with all your processes and procedures on, regardless of staff, and 2Ping them across to the new business owner, then your business is worth less instantly. And he said most of it relies on, say, like Chris and I, like joint directors, whatever. But we are, unfortunately, we've tried not to be, but faces of the business. And slowly but surely, we're pushing other staff members out, and that will make it easier to sell at some point. But with an estate agency, again, they try and, I guess most MDs try and pull themselves back from the business once it's up and running in terms of being the face.
It's very important. I've got franchisees I was having the same conversation with a couple of weeks ago. The franchisee will make the business from its infancy to its success stage.
Yes.
There is a tipping point where the asset of that business has to change, and the asset of that business becomes their people.
Sure.
And their people, and also in terms of, it could be their portfolio size, it could be the size of their financial services book. But actually, there's a point where the franchisee has to just slightly retract as the asset. But actually, the business then needs to become the asset. And some of the key people, and we talk a lot. I was talking to Chris Watkins only the other day. We talk a lot about succession.
Right.
So every business has to have succession. Your business would be no different.
Indeed.
So if you decided, okay, look, I want to do something else, or want to spend more time at home with the family, etc., you would have to have a succession plan in place.
Indeed, yeah.
And that's key in franchising. Our franchisees work extremely hard. They work long hours. It's their money.
Yeah, of course. They're,
everything they've got is on the line. But actually, there's a point where they have to then bring people on, like-minded, same work ethic.
Yeah, same values.
But also with the same, they don't need an alarm clock to get out of bed. And they will go at the business day in, day out with exactly the same purpose.
Yeah.
And that's the art that I believe we bring to advise and help with that transition.
Yeah.
And that's really what, that's probably the most important thing. As I say, from day one, you have to have that succession plan in your business, even if you're not going to realise it today.
Two-part question. How would you have exposed yourself in your business, your branding, back in the day, shall we say? And how might your own advice to yourself change now with regards to visuals?
So for me, as if I go back, I started in 88.
Yeah.
So for a good 15 years, really simple. We wanted the right-hand corner of the local press.
Got you.
So it had to be right-hand corner. You paid a bit more for that, because as people turn the paper, there we are.
Yeah, psychology to it.
We never broke into getting the back page, because that was always been booked out for many, many years. Right. So for us, it was our newspapers arrived on a Thursday.
Got you.
So we would then, Friday was a massive day on the phones.
Yeah,
and we'd book Saturday relentlessly off the back of the local Guardian, as it was at those times.
Right, sure.
As we then moved into a higher bracket, we would take out press in the Evening Standard.
Right.
Back then, that was a paid-for paper.
Sure. Oh, was it? Right.
So it was paid-for paper. So we'd go into the Evening Standard. These were way before the days of the Metro or anything else.
Yeah.
So for us, the exposure was, what's our press spend? When can we save costs on press? So 2 weeks in August,
of course,
we wouldn't spend.
Yes.
But for us, our business model was everything has to hit the press. But we would then make sure that all of our staff were in on a Saturday,
because the phones would be ringing hot.
And a certain week, the press bucket of papers would go out the front door, and we'd make sure that that was our real key part.
Yeah,
making sure the paper had our properties on the front by turning the pages over, that type of thing. So everything we did was around press and window display.
Sure.
So curb appeal was massive.
Yeah.
And really, that's my bread and butter. I then moved on slightly to, in the old days, of Find a Property.
Right.
The very first site that we ever went on, and we would fax our details through. We brought in Ben Quinney from, which was then Audio Agent.
Got you, right.
And we started then to offer a marketing pack, which included a voiceover.
Right.
So we'd have a 360 tour, not in the way that you see.
Yeah, like a Matterport type, but not.
But a Matterport 10 years ago, just a series of pictures.
Yeah.
And a voiceover, and that was a real big thing, big breakthrough.
I can imagine, yeah.
And that was the first time visuals really came into my estate agency career. Subsequently, since then, obviously with the creation of technology evolving, and now very much one of the big part of our business is video.
Yeah.
You know, a number of our franchisees, not all of them, but a number of our franchisees live and breathe by videos, and sneak peeks of properties are massive.
Oh, yeah, I know. I mean, I knew Fallow well, but we've got an old school friend of mine. He works over at the Melton branch, just sort of down the road from where we are. For years, he's off his own back, and I'm probably off watching a bit of Chris Watkin as well. But he just does videos, and he says of the sneak peeks, and even a quick tour of one room on, like, say, TikTok, he uses quite a lot. He showed, he was in a nice house, it had an Argo, lovely kitchen diner, just did a sweep of the one room, booked 2 viewings off it and sold the house. They hadn't even seen the whole house.
It's incredible.
People love that, though, like that. And I like, we a company based in Retford, Nicholson's, they're independent, but he was formerly corporately trained, bit too process-driven there, so he set up on his own. But every property they do gets a 360 sort of videography. Some of the better properties get a presenter-led tour. But he said video's just not going away anytime soon. We always say this.
And it'll only evolve. And the big thing I've got in some of my Xperience brands, and this will be the same in Marston & Co., but in Parker's especially, and CJ Hole are now really launching their videos. Parker's are, I think, the front runners in my world of videos. Ellis & Co. as well, a massive brand, some fantastic franchisee. All of them now, video is becoming the norm. But I think if I look at Parker's, they established their videos over many years now. But everything you see from YouTube to Instagram to Facebook, and that will, if I look at them even 2 years ago to today, the change in quality is huge. So for me, had my time again, I would want to be at the forefront of video. But what it does from an old staging agent like myself, I didn't believe the fact that you should show a customer too much before they saw the house. When you look at it now, it's changed my thought process because we offer a floor plan, we offer a video, we offer a 360 tour, we've got Google Maps. So when actually someone is coming to see the house, there's very few things they're not going to like because they know where it is. They know where the schools are.
They've had a look round.
They know everything. They've been in the house. So actually, what it has done for me, it would have cut down huge times. I ran a very busy South London office doing 300-400 viewings a week.
Wow.
Actually, I would have cut that down. My ratio from getting offers to viewings using video would have been dramatically halved. And now today, you know, that for me, it's very much when you look at the cost of doing a viewing.
Yeah, because it costs.
And video, very, very much. And if someone does come to see us, and actually, I don't like the whatever, the video would have shown you that.
It stops people just coming to have a look round, because if they're interested, then they really are interested. I mean, I do some online training for Ackaboom, and great presentation platform, but it just stops those time wasters in a way. I mean, and you'd never call potential clients time wasters because, sure, come and have a look round. But I guess, like you said, it really reduces the amount of people serious.
And if you think one of our biggest USPs as agents, and, you know, there's a bit of a sort of integrity behind this practice, but we would call people on a Wednesday morning saying, look, we haven't got the details. We generally didn't because we're waiting for Pronto Print to develop the photographs. You're going to have to come and look at it.
Right, yeah.
And actually, that's when people said, I can't believe he's wasted my time because it was completely wrong. It was in the wrong location.
Yeah, it's been matched to the wrong couple or whatever it was. Yeah.
So actually now we would be have a far more sniper approach.
Agents seem to be a whole lot better at matching properties to people.
In order to do that, and I've got a big beer mob on it about match and mailing in agents.
Right.
It's about knowing your applicants. But if you've got really good quality staff, they will be able to really match them with the property, have a very, very good conversation with them about them. So if I take one of my brands, Mullocks, for example, really great owner, Dan Galati, he's a great example of real premier marketing, the use of video, with also the backdrop of some really good old-fashioned estate agents. So still produces a very high-quality brochure that sits alongside that.
People still like tactile stuff, don't they? Yeah.
And the brand is renowned for quality.
Right. So
But I think you've got to have a balance. You've got to have a really good high-end video. If you don't, then don't have one.
Yeah.
But you've also got to have highly trained staff to complement the investment you've made.
Well, it sounds like you're doing an amazing job. I will hopefully see you at many more conferences.
You certainly will do.
Mate, thanks for coming on.
Pleasure. Thanks for today.
Pleasure. Brilliant.
Cheers.
Till next time, guys.